Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Boardroom. This is actually our last show of the year and the final run-up to Christmas, and I'm looking forward to having a great conversation with our guests today. As always, we are live on Facebook, so if you've got any questions or comments for our interviewees, please do add them below, and we will try our best to pass them on. If you don't manage to catch this live, worry not. It is streamable back on who'swho.mt, Malta's leading business portal. Now, unsurprisingly, today we're going to be talking about Christmas. Admittedly, this year it is a little bit of a different Christmas for many of the businesses out there, and we want to get a bit of an expert view on that from today's guests. And you will probably recognize them, some great personalities with us today, and hopefully going to have a wonderful conversation. We are joined by Marvin Gauci, the restaurateur, chef, and concept creator, by Dr Alexandra Mizzi, the managing director of the Early Learning Center, and Gianni Zammit, the CEO of Jugs Malta. All three of you, good friends of mine. Great to have you on the show. Very, very excited to have you as our final guests for 2020. Gianni, I'm going to come to you first. Christmas is a bit different for businesses this year. You are in the entertainment space. Can you tell us a little bit about why it feels different?
Because there's going to be none of it. No, it's going to be different because obviously, given the current situation, at least let's talk about the entertainment industry per se. It's going to be very, very limited. So we're coming out of our 8th or 9th month of pandemic. By now, venue owners, venues, business owners are holding back on many of the ideas that what one would have a normal Christmas were going to be like. So things are going to be very, very different. On the entertainment side of things, so as an entertainer, as you know, bands, DJs, whatever, there's going to be very, very little, unfortunately. And I say this not with a smile on my face. I smile because I'm just a happy person overall. There's going to be very little of that because of the health and current restrictions and the situation, what this is. So yeah, it's going to be a different one.
Be a different one. Okay, thanks, John, for that introduction. Now, Alexandra, you come to us from the retail space. Again, retail has been one of the sectors that has been hit quite hard. Talk to us just from an introductory perspective. You know, what's been different about Christmas 2020 for retailers like yourself?
So, hi, Joe. So nice to be here. Well, spending has been totally different. Of course, footfall in the shops has been totally different. We're not seeing the footfall that we usually see in Christmas time in our shops and in shops in general, because we do walk around Valletta and Slema, and unfortunately it's not what it is. A lot of people have turned to shopping online. Some sectors have suffered nonetheless, even though they have gone online. But it's difficult. It's excuse me. It's a very difficult Christmas. It's a very tough one that we'll never see, and hopefully we'll never see again.
And Lex, if I had to stay with you just a little bit, I mean, are you able to compare, you know, are we 30% down, 40% down? Again, not necessarily specifically, but you speak to other retailers, you know about how the sector's being hit. You know, is it a really big drop compared to last year?
In the shops, so brick and mortar shops, it's down. It's about 30-40% down. Online is up, but you have to compare. If you have to compare online year on year to your online, it's up. But if you have to compare global sales, so brick and mortar plus online, it's still down. Okay, so a very tough season, and obviously a season that perhaps we were not expecting this time last year. Now, Marvin, I'll come to you, obviously, to give us a little bit of a hospitality perspective. I know this Christmas is different for you, primarily because you're having a quiet family Christmas, which for anybody that knows you will know that's a little bit unusual in itself. But congratulations on that. I'm sure there are some good things in there. So talk to us from a restaurant perspective. This would normally be your busiest time of year, easily. What's changed?
Well, a lot changed. I mean, this year, in particularly January and February, were possibly the best January and February I ever had. We had a growth of 35%, and it was going fantastically. Unfortunately, all of a sudden, when COVID hit, everything went haywire, and our business is not 30% down, but it went down 100%, you know. And then when we reopened, it started going up slowly. We're still not even halfway where we were last year. So, you know, it's been tough. It's been a very tough year. But the most important thing, in my opinion, was to keep all the staff. I thank the authorities from here and whoever subsidized for wages and this and that and the other. And I also thank Corinthia Group because they were really, really good to me as well in this pandemic. On the other hand, I think I can put my hands on my heart and speak for all the restaurateurs in Malta that they really are all suffering. And even Gianni, I presume that it's been a tough year. For us, surviving this year would be whoa. And just hope that that at the end of the year, next year it will start a little bit better than it ended. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Gianni, I see you sort of nodding along there. I mean, again, this would normally be an extremely busy period for you. Maybe you can give us a bit of a comparable difference to where specifically you've been impacted as a sector.
So looking at let me talk as Jugs. So we offer team building, entertainment, and conferencing. Our sector got hit 100% hard. So it was just like everything died from day one to day two. Luckily, there were the online options, so webinars, taking team building online, and also doing some small events online. But again, we all know that as good as they are not full-on replacements. But it was what we believed at first was an interim. So yes, pretty much like Marvin saying, we're hoping, and I'm very confident that next year, vaccine permitting, obviously, things will pick up slowly. I'm looking at Q1 and Q2 not being phenomenal, at least on the local market. I believe Q2 and Q3 will get much better, and hoping to have a very strong Q4, the equivalent of this time last year, where normally you have staff parties, events, end of annual conferences. All these events are all normally happening in December. Internationally, I believe Q3 and Q4 will be a bit of a starter, and then next year, 22, Q1 and Q2 will pick up. I like to believe that we will kind of be back on track again by mid 2022 to pretty much, I'd say, early 2019. Obviously, when it comes to international, both holidays and also international conferences, it all depends on connectivity, how quickly the connectivity of airports and flights can be restored, because that's going to be key, in my opinion, in the next 12 to 24 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course, because that's an area where that's been severely impacted, right, John? I mean, obviously, we don't have the same connectivity we did at the start of this year. And of course, your sector and so many sectors will be impacted by that. John, if I had to ask you, where has spending stayed the same? Have there been any little pockets within the business that you do where it has stayed strong?
In our industry, no. What we specifically did was we diversified. It was a must. We took what we could online, so we retained our know-how of team building events, of conferences, and as I mentioned earlier on, went into webinars and went into online team building. But then we diversified. We looked within our team and we said, what are our strengths? Mm-hmm. And we created new departments, stuff which we've never done before. So our workshop, which are normally making props and custom stages for events, are now making custom furniture for boutique hotels and for individuals. Our team of people who are normally delivering equipment for team building activities from one location to the other, we've teamed up with another company, and we're delivering and assembling flat pack furniture. So we've created new departments which we never had before. To survive, as Marvin said, it's just literally getting through the year and getting through till next May, June, because then I believe that we will start rolling again on the local front, and that will already give us a bit of oxygen. So yeah, we looked at different departments, and I believe that 22-23 will be stronger for us, or for anybody who diversified, because your diversification will start paying off in the long run. So if you had 3 departments, now you have 6, and if they're managed well, you can be doubling your business by diversifying.
Absolutely. And that has been, over the conversations that we've had on the boardroom since March, which is when we started, diversification and pivoting has been such a critical part of all of our business leaders' success. And Alexandra, coming to you, in retail, obviously, there's only so much that you can pivot. You go from brick and mortar into the online world. But for you, have there been any great surprises of what has maybe been achieved by you and your team in this year to pivot, to diversify, and things that perhaps you will be able to learn in the long term?
So I think I consider our company lucky because we have been online, fully transactional and online for the past about 7 or 8 years. So when we had to close our shops, we did not need to adapt too much. So what I did is my staff was not at home. My staff was in the shops, packing the orders, getting them sent out, organizing logistics. So it was just doing the same thing, but instead of getting our orders face to face with the customers, we were online, we were getting the orders, printing them out, getting them out to the customers. So in that respect, we were very lucky. Many have had to adapt because they weren't online. Malta was still a very young, inexperienced country to online. We're still backwards in the local online. We're very good to buy online and from abroad, but locally having the businesses themselves online only just came in thanks to COVID, which is, I think, silver lining. So people had to adapt that way. So, I mean, but otherwise we didn't have to adapt. Our team is great. We were lucky, as Marvin said, with the wage supplements of the government, whereby we did not have to leave and let go of any one of our staff. Our staff is still who left on their own steam, not because we decided to let them go. We could not employ more this year as much as we wanted to. Where usually would employ being Christmas, we're a toy shop, so we'd need more staff on the shop floor. This year we did not, because unfortunately we do not need to. But we beefed up our administration, our back end. That is completely beefed up. So, and we're surviving, I guess.
Okay. Thanks, Alex. And Marvin, now to come to you a little bit about, restaurants have largely kept going. I think the majority of restaurants have been able to stay open. But do you think that this will continue into 21? Do you think that we can expect to see an impact to the restaurants that managed to survive this, given that Q1 and Q2 will possibly still be a challenging period?
Absolutely. I think that most restaurants next year will change ownership.
Wow. Okay.
Only the ones that have been there for a long time, I think they will manage. But most of them, I think we're already seeing a lot of restaurants are closing down. They're just hoping for a little bit more. But we're seeing a lot of change as well. And in all fairness, if there is a restaurateur that's been in business for 20-25 years, he's looking at the numbers now and he's saying, like, I think it's about time that I pack my stuff and that's it. You know what I mean? And I mean, after so many years doing in the restaurant business, I think that when you are hit with a big thing like what happened now, I don't think that you will have the energy to go in with full force to try and make it happen. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Marvin, we speak about pivoting a lot on this show. And again, a lot of restaurants in Malta have pivoted, maybe offering a takeaway service that they hadn't offered before. Have there been any other surprises for you from the restaurant sector about how restaurants have been able to keep going?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, takeaway business has been a key for most restaurants, but unfortunately, from my side, it was kind of a little bit limited because you cannot deliver an experience. You know what I mean? You can deliver food in a box. So you cannot 100% deliver what you do. It's like
somebody like you who puts such a focus on be able.
We lost you there for
into the space, I'm sure. But oh no, am I back?
Yeah, you're back now. You need to repeat the last sentence or the last paragraph.
Thanks for that, Marvin. I was just sort of saying, have you seen any restaurants or other people in your sector who've somehow been able to keep the experiential side of the restaurant going, even in the takeaway? Are there opportunities there for entrepreneurial restaurateurs to be thinking about?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think you can deliver. I don't think you can deliver an experience. You can just deliver food and that's it. You can't have the way the host hosting you into the restaurant. The whole atmosphere of the sommelier opening a bottle of wine. You know what I mean? Giving you a taste for the wine. Explaining a little bit about the region and where it came from. How can you do that?
Absolutely. Agreed. It's difficult. So, Gianni, obviously you're in the sector of sort of keeping teams going and sort of encouraging team building and all that side of things. Obviously, companies can't necessarily afford to have the same sort of thing that they've had in the past. But do you see that companies still want to give that injection to their teams at the end of the year? And what have you been able to offer to them?
Yes, I definitely believe that companies, the way people looked at it was probably March and April, this will pass. Let's wait. When May and June kicked in, okay, it's looking a bit more serious. Let's hold on, because everybody kind of pressed the panic button a little bit and held back a bit. July, August, September, some of the companies that normally have 2, 3, 4 annual team building activities start saying, listen, we need to keep the team together, because despite some companies were still kind of working or had the facilities of working online, others did not. It was a novelty to them. The teams had not met in 6, 7, 8 months. That problems start coming out of stuff like that. What we have seen over the last 2 months, and looking at January and February as well, is lots of people are saying, listen, I have to get my team spirit, my team morale up, so I want to do team building. There are a number of activities that happen online. Unfortunately, to a certain extent, similar to Marvin, a team building, it's an experience. Online, you are getting a fun experience. Don't get me wrong, they're great fun. Some of the activities that are available, you're talking quizzes, you're talking escape rooms, you're talking, we can even do wine tasting online. Everybody gets a bottle of wine delivered and a sommelier explains over the internet, but it's not the same thing, but it's a very, very good alternative. So lots of companies are doing that, saying, listen, especially over Christmas, I need to do something to retain that. Because at the end of the day, you're as good as your team. So if your team spirits are up and the morale is good, and maybe you're seeing business still extending its negativity a bit, but you want to inject a little bit of positivity, these kind of events really, really help to assist, let's call it the pain, where you say, listen, guys, let's do something together. You've boosted the morale, the work atmosphere is a little bit better despite being online, and you've injected this positivity in that. I believe that I know for sure that lots of companies are doing that. November, December, they've been concentrating a lot, given that it's a Christmas time, and also normally the budgets end by the end of the year. So they say, let's do that quickly before the new budget kicks in. But also that come next year, where I still think that by April, May, June, we'll be looking at physical team building again, obviously always vaccine permitting and by guidelines of the health authorities. But I do believe that in Q2, Q3, we'll be having people physically getting back to do events together again. Because I said online is great. It's a super, super alternative. I personally, who am a very human person and I enjoy human communication, I still think that replacing the same in retail. I want to go into a shop. I want to see physically with my hands. I want to try it on maybe. Bordering online, I mean, I have a wardrobe of stuff which doesn't fit me because I order in small and I realize I'm not small anymore. So I still believe the human communication, the human element will surface again and will return ASAP, hopefully.
Absolutely. And I think, John, we hear a lot of the word hybrid coming into the space, I think, with events and things like that. Because what have we learned that's beneficial to businesses about where online can be really helpful? I mean, do you think that perhaps we're going to see in the future bigger events once a year as opposed to smaller events through the year, and then maybe online sort of, keeping things going in between? Obviously, opportunities have been created. What do you see to be the trends trends that will come out of this? Perhaps not 2021, where we're still reliant on the fact that the vaccine needs to come in and that COVID will still be part of our lives. But do you think there are going to be trends in 22, 23, 24 that will come as a result of what's been good in 2020?
Definitely. So large international companies that have offices all around Europe or around the world have realized that the hybrid option, so doing online meetings, can save a lot of travel time and expenses. So if I need to talk to my top team in Sweden, France, Germany, and Italy, I don't necessarily need to fly them here to have a 1 hour meeting. You know, it can be done online. Obviously, on a team building aspect, on a social aspect, yes. On a meeting aspect, you need to fly them in and have a whole meeting or fly out. So I believe the hybrid, especially in the conference sector, will be, if people can are invited to a foreign country for a conference and they can attend, and they should attend because it's part of the workload, etc., they should do that. But there are some people maybe from the US or from Japan, which is it's a bit of a pain in the butt to fly to Europe for a one-day conference. They can join online. So I think webinars, I still see them being as a hybrid to the actual conferencing. The same with team building. Some companies that have international branches do not afford, both on a time front and on a financial front, to invite all their employees over for 2-3 team building activities a year. They'll do a big annual one, but then the other 2 or 3 can be done online. The event sector is a bit different. When you're organizing an event, although despite that there are some phenomenal software options which are virtual events, AI. So you've created an avatar, you've walked to an event, you can actually dance with people, you listen to clubs, you can go into chill out rooms. It's all available online, but it is not the same thing as actually communicating with somebody. So I think, yes, definitely 2021 will be a hybrid because of the circumstances. 22 onwards will be a hybrid because it is a good option as a hybrid.
Absolutely. That's great. I mean, we love on this show talking about opportunities, and there's no doubt about the fact that opportunities have been created this year. It's opened our eyes to things that we never would have considered before. We all had an opportunity to take a step back and realize that there are other ways to do things. And Alexandra, with that in mind, for the retail space, what are the opportunities that you could even perhaps get excited about as a result of what you, as a leader in this space, have learned during 2020?
Well, like Gianni mentioned, we usually have training from the UK, our UK mother company, who comes down and would train our staff. We actually had it online. It was actually better, to be honest with you, because it got all my staff together. We had some team building sessions, not as good as Gianni's for sure. So they were with us. They were hand in hand with us all the way, stepping, all the way with us. It was great. So it's good to be online. I think people are just realizing, I don't know about you, but I'm missing going to the shops. I love shopping online, but I miss going to the shops. Mm-hmm. So I think like Gianni's saying, it's going to be hybrid. It already is hybrid in the retail sector. It's been, now it's even more. But I think probably end 2021, 2022, people are going to be back with a bang in brick and mortar stores. Yeah. Keeping the online always, but I think the experience, the shopping experience, so basically the retailers have to bring the experience in the shop. We already do that in Early Learning Center. So it's an experience for the parents, it's an experience for the child. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we've had to remove the play area because we can't be sanitizing after each and every child. It's impossible. So the experience in store is going to be super, super important. So that is where retailers have to step up their job. And even online, it's making a website easy. It has to be easy to pay. Give various options how to pay. Delivery is super important. Mm-hmm. Efficient delivery, we can deliver in 24 hours. If you buy it from Amazon, you don't. Mm-hmm. Will it come in Christmas? Probably not. But we local retailers can deliver. So it's so important. It's a week to Christmas, but people still need to do their shopping. So it's important to use local retailers throughout the year. We have employees in the restaurant sector, in the entertainment sector. We have employees, they have families. We need to retain them. They are our family as well. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we have to protect each other by buying local. It's a full circle. So,
In fact, Lex, I was going to highlight that. I mean, for retail especially, but I think also restaurants and other local brands, you know, the shop local, the support small brands has grown in ways that we probably couldn't have imagined at the start of this year. You know, I think for the Amazons of this world, we've maybe realized that we want to protect our local shops. We want to keep them going. And I do think you're right that the experience side of things is going to continue to be what gets people back out there, knowing that they can get a good service, they can have a chat to somebody who knows the product rather than just buying it online, perhaps from a more anonymous source. You know, that's going to be something. And Lex, how would you encourage people to sort of focus on the retail experience? What can local shops do to improve the experience that people have in their shops, and therefore, you know, sort of remain loyal to them?
It's the customer is always important. The returning customer is even more important. So it's important to have brilliant experience, great sales assistant. You're welcomed into the shop, ask for assistance. I mean, the usual stuff, really, but just making an extra effort. And what's even more important is the deliveries of it. You know, you've had a smooth experience, had an issue, make sure to deal with it in an easy. The customer needs to feel at ease. They won't come back. We've had customers who won't come back because one of our sales assistants was busy helping another customer on the phone, and all they said is they didn't tell them good morning. So it's not that, you know, it's about training, but it's about even customers learning that there are a lot of things going on, and it's the customers who need to just be chill about things. You know, it's COVID has made everybody a little bit high-strung.
Yeah.
Edgy.
Yeah, definitely challenges there. Of course, I can only imagine, Lex.
So it's all about experience.
It is. It's all about experience,
and
obviously,
sales.
Absolutely. And Marvin, you would no doubt agree with all of that. That it's all about experience, something that you take very seriously in all of your restaurants. But I'd love to hear, Marvin, what your opportunities are in mind. You know, what do you look at for the future and sort of see as something exciting that you've learned and that you see coming out of this year?
Well, a lot of things came out this year. Obviously, for the best one is that I'm going to spend Christmas with my family, you know. That's the best one. I'm 41 years old, and I don't remember I ever did it, you know. So this is number one. I'm really looking forward. It's actually a little bit. It's not easy because I'm not used to it. So when everybody is, you know, decorating the house and everything like this, sometimes I look at it and say, isn't this a waste of time? We're just doing it for us, you know what I mean? So, like, it's a waste of time, you know, in my mind, which is not, though. They've been doing it all these years, and, you know, the house always looked like that. I was never there to see it, you know. But when I go to, you know, when I go to my mother and when I the tree is you know, set up, and I come home and the tree is set up, it's kind of no. But when you're there actually doing it, and I'm looking at them, I say, why are we wasting this time? Let's go for a drive or a hike or something. You know what I mean? So that's it. You know. Sorry, I got lost there.
It's okay. It's a great story. It's a great story. I'm enjoying it. But I'd love to hear from you. I think we're having some internet problems, but I'd love to hear from you about the opportunities that you see coming out of this for the hospitality sector.
So for the hospitality sector, I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity and opportunity for some and this opportunity for others, okay? Because obviously there's going to be more locations available. Obviously, this is not something that I'm looking for sure, but there is going to be a lot of opportunities. So from that aspect, I think that there will be a lot of movement in 2021 and 2022. On the other hand, I think that, like what happened to us, that I mean, we built a website which we put it as a platform and put all the restaurants' food all over there. so people could, even when we are open, and they could instead of coming to the restaurant, they can have the food delivered onto the boats and on the they can actually get it delivered on the beach. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's something that you could go somewhere and get a bottle of wine and a dinner for two delivered to you wherever you are. So these are all opportunities that eventually people will start using. They say, look, I don't want to go to a restaurant closed in 4 doors. I want to be in the wilderness, and I will take a table and I will have my food delivered here. And they have a beautiful view of, let's say, I don't know, Ahrash in Melliha, and you're eating there because you got your food delivered there. You know, these are all opportunities for that. Before, people packed their lunches, made their lunches, and took it with them. You know what I mean? Now instead, they will call a restaurant and they say, okay, I want to have sushi, I want to have this, I want to have that, and I want it delivered in this location. Bam. You know? So this, I think that this is an opportunity for the business, for the not hospitality, but for the catering industry. For hospitality, I think that, like, there's a big, like, when we talk about what Gianni was saying, and he said, okay, there's going to be hybrid, there's going to be people going online more, blah blah blah, and all this. Yeah, I see it, and this will also be a big problem because there will be less people traveling. So the airlines will hike up their prices, and it will be very expensive to go to other destinations. And this is something that I'm really concerned about the flying business, because they're all in big trouble right now, you know. And I think even hoteliers, you know, they have their hotels completely closed. And even to run a hotel, you need hundreds of thousands of euros a month. You know what I mean? Because if you shut it down, you need new everything, all the infrastructure in the back of house, in the back end, like heaters, boilers, and all that. If you don't use them, they will go. You know, so they have to leave them running, and the heating on and the cooling on, and you know, so it's like there's a lot of expenses, and there's a lot of money being used to use all this. You know what I mean? So when they reopen, I mean, they have to put up their prices. You know?
Yeah.
This is one thing that I'm a little concerned about. You know, but obviously there is a lot of opportunities. Like a lot of people, actually, a lot of restaurants now, they're saying, okay, I'm doing the same as I'm doing without have to spend the money to give a service in a restaurant. So they came out of the restaurant business. They opened just a kitchen, and they just deliver. You know, they don't need the front. So they just realized that they don't need the front. They don't need the premises. That is nice with a view, or that, or this or the other. Obviously, not all the restaurants, not restaurants that are giving an experience. You know what I mean? I'm talking about other different sectors of the industry.
Of course. Well, yeah, I mean, that's it's always so exciting to hear from our guests on here, you know, where the opportunities are, because the majority of our viewers are entrepreneurs and other people in the business sector. And it's exciting to hear what they think will be the trends for 2021. So thank you, all of you, for sharing those trends. I'd love, as we wrap up our conversation today, I'd love to hear your one tip, perhaps, for going into 2021, perhaps to other people in your sector, other entrepreneurs, or perhaps even people outside your sector, but still within the business sphere. And Alex, I'll come to you first. What would be your tip that you'd share to round off our conversation today?
Be positive. Be as motivated as you can. This is going to be over. Take your vaccine. And go online. And diversify if you have to. We can do this.
Absolutely. Thanks, Alex. Marvin, what would be your tip?
I don't think I have a lot to add to Alexandra. I mean, this year taught us a lot to to stay positive and keep our staff engaged and keep their minds off whatever is going on. The more busy you keep your staff, the less they have to think about everything else. Not only your staff, but also the people around us. Yeah, go and eat lobster, popcorn, and caviar and bull. That's the vaccination for you.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first. Go and eat lobster, popcorn, and caviar and boil. Okay, thank you, Marvin. And finally, Gianni, your tip for rounding off 2020.
Obviously, working on what everybody else said, the positivity, and use these last 12 months as a learning experience. But there's a good old saying that goes, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So if once you survive the pandemic, which is something which is going to pass by and we're going to be back to normal ASAP, we're going to be stronger than we were before. So let's look at that and look forward at that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Marvin, Alexandra, and Gianni, for being my final guests of the year on the Boardroom. You've given us so much insight and so much to think about. And to all of you at home or in the office, it's been a wonderful first year here on the Boardroom. We've been so lucky to have so many great conversations. It's been great hearing from you. And I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a strong and healthy start to 2021. We'll be joining you then for more conversations on the Boardroom. Thank you very much.